high. Looks like the high dictates the steps, hoping for you to come out and play. A rainy day, you run around the block, naked and alone, hoping someone will notice and laugh at you. But you know it's wrong. They make you ashamed and confused. You need what you hate. You hate what you need. All gonna come out in the end. Naked and alone, hoping someone will see you in all your ugliness. You're just hardwired to let them have their way with you. You know what you wanna do, but you don't wanna do it. To force you, to make you do what you wanna do. They're driving you mad. They're driving you insane. How can you get away? How can you live? Greetings in the name of the Most High. Well, here it is, the aftermath. And, I'm going to give a few observations. I want to talk about writing skills as well. So, observations. One, I don't think the Democrats really, the kind of hardcore will really ever get over this election. Don't think they ever will, forever. So you can laugh at it, cry at it, scream at it. It doesn't matter. I spent my day on X yesterday doing research into this, into influencers and what they were saying about the election and about the country. And so the consensus is, and this is compiled from like 100 TikToks, is that it's the American people's fault. They're going to really pay in the future. Most, if not all, women, and this is mainly a women thing, but not restricted to women, refuse to see their families again. Have sworn off their families, given them the finger, told them there'll be no holidays, no turkey. I hope you choke on the turkey. That sort of attitude, and have blown off their relationships with family, and also offspring and siblings, and parents and grandparents, etc. Across the board. There's a movement of women trying to look like monks, and they're shaving their heads, getting little tattoos, little heart tattoos, to show that they're with Nazis or whatever. And they're wearing I won't say robes, but they have a certain like a uniform thing they're wearing that they're saying that they're not having sex again until this is right again. But the main common theme is all of these people are pointing their finger and blaming, and this is mainly women here, and they're blaming the country uh, for betraying them, and they want to punish Trump supporters. In fact, yesterday there was a guy that wore a Trump hat in a classroom, and the teacher just jumped on him. I mean, it may get violent to where the teacher might just stab one of the kids. They're not going to get over it. And as Trump has gone forward as the happy warrior, despite the fact that this Judge Marchand is going ahead and he's keeping the sentencing over Trump's head and delaying it indefinitely, which is not just unconstitutional; it's completely insane, and has to be reversed. Trump's showing no anxiety whatsoever about Marchand or the bogus 34 felonies, that's one thing that got me to actually speak up on Trump's behalf, because I am sick and tired of seeing people lying in court and getting away with it. And that's the Democrats. That's nobody else. Any Republican tried that, they would be thrown in jail. That's the Democrats. They lie, they lie, they lie. MSNBC, CNN, and et al. All of them continue to lie and say that, for example, sample from Joy Reid. I'm not putting these samples up. I'm just telling you what my research is showing. That Joy Reid is saying that what Trump's really doing is it's all a ruse going after criminals, that if you're brown, he's coming for you. So again, she's trying to stoke up a race war along with her friend Rachel Maddow. And they're basically saying, we need armed insurrection. Now, these are the women, not so much the men, which is interesting, because the men that I've seen are mainly trans women and gay men. I have not seen strong men get up there like a strong man would be like an influencer like a George Clooney or somebody like that. Get up there and go, it's your fault, blah blah blah. And so you're not seeing the strong men, you're seeing weak men and crazy women. And so let me just explain what that's going to mean. First of all, we're on the verge of a baby boom. And I don't like to say conservative and liberal, because the Democrat Party is not liberal, okay? Number one, they're not liberals, period. I mean, there may be some liberal things, libertine things, but they're not liberals in the sense of what liberal really means politically. What's the new Republican Party, which is based mainly of, which has purged all the old rhinos and the sort of country club Republicans and all that, and became the party of the working class. These are more liberal in that sense, and the concerns are more liberal. So there's this weird competition between, and I won't say left and right, but between the parties, obviously. And now I'm not a member of the Republican Party or the Democrat Party or the Libertarian Party, though a lot of libertarian ideas and philosophies have wound up in Republican platforms, along with care for working people. And that means that although they lie on MSNBC and they say that he's going to take your entitlements, he's going to take your Social Security, no, he's vowed to bolster Social Security and stop taxing people on Social Security, which will mean more money in your pocket. Now, that's a fact. You cannot argue with me on that. Oh, they would. I mean, they say anything. But basically, they want a war, okay? They're very frail looking. They don't look like they could wage a war against anybody, but they're at war, and they will always be at war, and I don't believe they will ever be satisfied with anything. You can move them to a desert island somewhere, and they'll complain about that too. There's nothing you can do to appease them. There's no way you can become friends with them. You can forgive them, for they know not what they do, but there is no way that you will ever be able to convince them about anything, because all they do is lie. Honestly, this is the thing. Out of like hundreds of TikToks and all these people that I've seen, that I've gone from one to another. I mean, Trish knows because I was pointing this out yesterday. I've gone from one to the next to just see if there's consistency across the way. It's completely consistent, 100% war, 100% permanent, and they will not ever forgive America for voting for Trump, but under the guise of taking their rights away, reproductive rights, I guess that's abortion, and the rights of LGBTQ away, which of course what they mean by that is trans children and having trans programs in the school. Yes, those will be taken away because kids need to be able to make their own decisions about whether they're going to cut their penis off or not, or form their vagina into some kind of a penis. That's a personal decision. No one should be forced into that before they come of age in some way. And so that's where that is. So nothing's really being altered or changed. There's no way abortions are being restricted. There's not an overturn of Roe v. Wade. It was returned to the states. And as far as a woman's right to choose, that's not been on the menu to take away. What's on the menu is deportation of criminals, the bolstering of the economy, and then some Democrat leaders have this idea that tariffs will increase, the money for goods and services that you'll have to pay. Therefore, it's a tax. So Trump's tariffs and tax cuts are really just a ruse because you're really going to be paying more. That's incorrect. The tariffs are used as much as a psychological tool to influence big manufacturers to manufacture in the United States rather than shipping it from abroad. As far as when there's competition and there's individual products, if a product is given a tariff for whatever reason, it is to for whatever amount it is, say 100%, 200%, 1,000%, doesn't really matter. The point is the seller will not ship that good into the United States in the first place. It will not create a black market. It won't be here in the first place. Therefore, the price won't go up because you won't see it. So you would have somebody in competition with that manufacturer, say for tissue paper, and they make it right here. Well, you can buy that tissue paper cheaper than you could have. The tariffs are used as an inducement to move manufacturing to the United States. And so it deals with car companies, big conglomerates. It's not really dealing with the little guy and little goods and services that would be going up and be instead of a tax. But they think they're playing gotcha, and they think they've got Trump on the tariffs and it's really a tax increase and he's really full of shit. That is bullshit. And I've just explained what tariffs are. They're not used to create a black market or a higher market price on any good or service, period. Where they got this idea, they wanted any kind of leverage to try to attack Trump. And then the guy that was doing that is calling himself a genius. And he says, you should listen to me. I had the answer all along. And he doesn't have the answer because Trump has completely contradicted him as far as the use of tariffs when he was on with Maria Bartiromo, which is a show I always watch. Early, it starts at 4 a.m. here. I'm always looking at the markets. I'm kind of an armchair economist, and I'm very intrigued as to where the economy is going right now. But what I can say is that Maria Bartiromo, he said, it doesn't matter what the tariff is. It's just an inducement to change. Like if they're going to build a factory in Mexico to make cars, they're not going to ship them into the United States because I'm going to tariff them to death. Meaning you won't see even one car, so you won't be paying more. You'll be buying the car that's made here that's cheaper, and and if you want that car from Mexico, then Mexico is going to have to, instead of building a Ford plant there, Ford's going to have to build the plant here. And that's the use of that's how the tariffs are being used, right? Did you understand that, Trish? That it's being used to scare people into doing the right thing, not a permanent thing that, if you don't like someone, you just tariff their goods. So we'll just tariff volleyballs. So you'll have to buy this volleyball, but not that one. That is not the case. And the people on the Democrat side that are saying that are themselves deluded, and they're lying. Again, lie. The 34 felony convictions on Trump was lawfare. I've heard a bit of the show, The God Charlemagne. Laura Trump got on there to defend her father's being a non-racist. He's not a racist. But they were pointing out when he said they're shipping in criminals, they're shipping in these Mexicans, they're criminals. He meant the criminals, not the Mexican population. But they wouldn't give that to him.
Father-in-law.
They wouldn't, her father-in-law, yeah. They wouldn't give that to him. They said, he said that. He said all Mexicans. No, he didn't. He said they're shipping in the criminals, not the better, the people that aren't criminals.
Yeah, they always cut off. They never release.
So therefore they say, and please don't say, yes, he has friends that are black. It's like, God, what kind of an asshole are you? What kind of a lying piece of shit are you when you come up with all that kind of stuff? Because that's the kind of stuff whereby the Democrats have lost big time this election. And you wonder, with all the evidence and all the 34 felonies, which were all bullshit, with all the stuff that's gone on, you'd think that Harris would have won 1,000 to 1. You would think it would be a landslide for Harris after all that information that was given him. And Joy Reid told you he was racist. Everybody in MSNBC, they're racist. CNN is racist. The guy Charlemagne, the big podcast for the left, racist. And what that all did was anesthetize Trump. It actually gave him the election, gave him the landslide. But now today, in the aftermath of the election, they're continuing the same rhetoric. That's my point. So they will never get over it. They will never look in the mirror, at least not the next few years. So I imagine it's going to be, you're going to start seeing terrorist attacks and all kinds of things, because that philosophy called the left is also hooked into globalist, that's hooked into terrorists. And that's why they defend Hamas and Iran and all that, because they're basically, if they don't get their way, they want to burn stuff down or blow it up or do something. And so they're calling for this kind of race war. They called Trump Hitler. Whenever you call someone Hitler, you've lost the argument. That's the end of it. And as I predicted, calling him Hitler got him elected. Had Harris not said the word Hitler, she would have gotten more votes. Because when you say Hitler, like I say, with people, their eyes glaze over. That's it. You've lost. That's such a desperate thing to say that you've totally lost. Then they know that Trump is not Hitler because they've seen him in action as president before, and he did not act like Hitler. They just don't like the fact that he has self-confidence and he's a alpha male type of guy, and he's barrels along and gets stuff done. And they want to put a cog in the road. What they want to do is what Ayn Rand wrote about in Atlas Shrugged. That's exactly what they want to do. Okay. And you could call them Democrats, you could call them independents. It doesn't matter what you call them. It's the same spirit. Now let's get to the spirit of it. Why are they different people? And why aren't people all the same? How did God make people like that? And God made people that would never even think that way. It's I do believe it has something to do with genetics. I do believe that we've seen it before when Moses was leading the Israelites out of Egypt and looking for the promised land, and you had the grumblers and the complainers, and all they want to do is throw a cog in the wheel, and they wanted to revel with the golden calf and get into all kinds of pagan rituals, and which which Moses could not tolerate because that was an affront to Yahweh that's leading him, that led him to parting the Red Sea was not impressive. The miracle of the Red Sea wore off after a couple of weeks. And it was not long before they were worshiping the golden calf. And then, of course, they had to be killed because, you see, they had to be killed because of who they are. If you could just read the Bible with more introspection, you'd understand there's something different that's not it's not subject to change through learning or shaping or nurturing or schooling. It's a difference that is fundamental. Just like some people are born with 3 arms, it's just they're born the way they are. And Lady Gaga had that right. She goes, I was born this way. Well, they're born to be earth dwellers. And when they can't control something on the earth and they start complaining and screaming, and they're already screaming that Trump is separating kids from their parents after they've lost, I don't know, by now 500,000 kids. They haven't lost them. They've trafficked them. The Biden-Harris admin has trafficked them into the arms of their buddies, the cartels, which they're in cahoots with. Now, I can't stand that, folks. I'm just going to look at the issues, okay? I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. But I can tell you this. I'm voting, or advocating against child sex trafficking. Wouldn't you? I mean, the sex abuse and pedophilia abuse and all that is why there has been such a high suicide rate. It can destroy a child by giving them a guilt and shame complex about their bodies, and that metastasizes into a full-blown mental illness. And I've struggled with that myself, and it's a lifetime. Hurt a kid, and it's a lifetime for that kid. And yes, the idea that kids like being touched, they like being molested, they like being fondled, they like being this. They don't. The problem isn't that. It's the sexualizing and what it does to consciousness of a child, and the complex that ensues that can lead to some very, very desperate and difficult sociological problems and psychological problems that are permanent, such as my daughter committing suicide. Would never have happened had she not been abused. Probably when her mother took her away back to Italy, that was probably I pretty much lost touch during those crucial years, and I beat myself up all the time for that. But I couldn't intervene. At that point, they were trying to lock me up in the loony bin. I mean, they actually had a plan. So they were not in the guise of having a family visit with my daughter. It was really a ruse to get the guys with the white coats to haul me off, and that happened in 2002, I believe, here in Santa Fe. So very desperate, and as I say, these people that I call the earth dwellers, because they don't even want they don't like Elon Musk because he wants to go to Mars. They don't want to go to Mars. They want to keep you here forever. They want to keep you in your shit forever. They want to lock you down in a box forever. They're already wearing masks. They're already yelling for lockdowns. They love Fauci, who's killed 50 million people already. There's no end to it. So you need to factor in when you're doing your geopolitical thinking that this is not the bohemian left that's against the war in Vietnam and all for drugs and poetry and free sex and love-ins and Jimi Hendrix and the mamas and the papas and the 60s and the whole vibe and Dylan and all that. There is no promised land that we can provide. There is another world that they know nothing about, that is more vast, more solid, more real than this world will ever be. And that's the world that's my home. And that's where I will return to. And I don't need to have any faith about this. This is something I just know. And, I was born with prophetic gifts. So when I say I know something, that's let's just put it this way. When I say I know something, that doesn't change, does it? My whole life, I know, you know. Sometimes I get frustrated and I tell the Lord, please just take me home. I can't stand it. Let me just get out of here. You go ahead and kill me. But I don't mean it. I got to repent on that. I'm sorry. That's just me being really grumpy and having a bad attitude. And then I repent for that because I know that, we're here for a reason. And I know that we're here to, basically, I'm not here for myself to glorify myself in any way. I mean, I might achieve a few things, but only with the help of God, not on my own. If I wanted help from them, I would have joined them when I was a child. And then they'll have each other's backs and give each other employment. And I didn't want to be their slave or a slave, which they are, including all the way up the ladder, all the way up to your $200 million a year celebrity, all the way down to the guy that pumps the gas. All of them are slaves. And they're always going to complain. And they're going after Trump. They're trying to figure out new ways of lawfare now to get him. But the problem they have is that the people, that cold, I didn't cold. The people are unimpressed with their lawfare. The people don't like it. The people don't like calling somebody Hitler. The people don't like calling people fascist when they're trying to do the America first to help American families. The people don't like it when there's a candidate for the working class and to help them. And when they say all they're about is themselves and they're just greedy and they're just going to steal all the money. And then the elites say, we, the elites, are for the working class. We, the elites, who can't even balance our checkbooks and we haven't been set foot in a marketplace in years. We have your back. We have your future. We have your best interest in mind. Anyway, it's all a ruse. Is there hope with Trump? To me, it looks like it could go to a nuclear war and kill us all, or that we could have providence here with the wall of prayer, as we've had a nice wall of prayer that just seems to that God is looking for that. And I would say the win that Trump has done, that doesn't involve all the House races that are being, I mean, they're trying to steal everything all the way out the door, even to the low hanging fruit of the state races. Copper. Oh, that's good. That's filtered with like a Berkey type filter, and then the ice cubes are also, and then put it in copper. In this case, hammered copper, and supposedly there's health benefits from copper. So I find it to be very good. Anyway, so that's my assessment of it. I mean, I know I kind of did a podcast about the American divide, but I'm here to say the divide is permanent. Okay. Please understand. And now that's a prophetic statement. The divide is permanent. The wheat and the tares are two distinct things. The wheat and the tares grow together. We grow together with them. They grow together with us. We are not them and they are not us. We will never be them. They will never be us. And, they've run with the Green New Deal. Well, COVID, they brought us COVID and they ran that. And then they along with, in cahoots with Johns Hopkins and what was that called? Operation Lockstep is what we all suffered through. And then they're still walking around without being arrested. And, a lot of this has to be adjudicated. If you kill, 100 million people and permanently maim people through shots that are not safe and effective, there needs to be adjudication. Otherwise, you have no country, you have no life. You're just a barbarian. It's every man for himself. Well, that's not what the country was supposed to be. So I do look forward to to some changes in that regard, but I'm not getting the pom-poms out just yet, folks, because I don't think this is the kind of war you win by cheering on, oh yeah, look, we got him now. And I know that there's a lot of people that say voted for Trump that are mocking the left's ridiculous and yes, funny antics when they scream and yell. And one guy was saying that he's leaving the country. He's really serious this time. He's moving to Hawaii, and with a straight face. And it's when I see something like that, I just move on. I don't feel I should stop and tease a person like that. You know what I mean? I don't feel a need to. It doesn't make me feel better to put them down for their obvious mistakes. I just know that my lament here is that we have to live together. We have to find a way to overcome evil. And a lot of people are weak and they're taken up in evil. They don't even know it. They think the Bible says, I think it's in 1 John, that they will kill you and think they're doing God's work when they see a godly person, somebody that is somebody that would be with God and not with countries. Like, you might be in the United States, but you're a God person. You're separate from ultimately the fate of whatever the country goes through. It's your responsibility to a certain extent, being there and being a good steward. But ultimately, your home is not the earth. My home is not the earth. I'm here temporarily, a stranger in a strange land, as the Bible calls it, and I'm moving through this wilderness, and I'm asking the Lord, okay, well, please, Lord, guide me. I've gone through tests like losses, financial losses. I've gone through bankruptcy years ago, but I mean that was another, been tested in that way. Also been tested with greed issues, and I've passed all those tests. Been tested with health. I haven't done so well. I have been complaining, I admit, because I don't feel 100%, and I get mad. You know what I mean? I get frustrated, and I have to realize that as we get older, this is what it looks like, and I don't like it because I feel like I want more time. But then again, do I want to covet that time or covet the Lord's time? See what I mean? So everything to me is, there's no getting away with it. And whatever weakness I display is watched. They see it. It's seen by everybody. I mean, it might as well be everybody. If God sees it, everybody sees it. So I'm really kind of, in a sense, on a string, like a little puppet on a string, in the sense that I can't just go off and have a season of sin. As much as it doesn't appeal to me now, but when I was younger, yeah, I was very tempted into doing, the lost weekend, the getting the drugs and the drinks and the whole thing going for the weekend. Now I personally just don't like anything that changes my consciousness, because my consciousness is changing. But although I don't like pain, I don't like the pain I have to endure in this world. When I see the way it is, and I see people being, I guess what really makes me upset is when I see people being mean to kids because they're wearing a Trump hat and they're supposed to be the teacher. And when they say, why are you getting mad? Then they spout off, because he's a racist or some glib thing that he isn't, that without doing any research, they just programmed to say that, and they just say it, and they're willing to, act on it. And eventually people, I guess, are willing to kill for whatever your affiliation. You're on Trump's, you're on Trump's side. We're at war. So let me just solve this. They are at war with anybody they can't control. It's not just Trump supporters, anyone they can't control. The war will go forever. They are made the way they're made. They're never going to get rid of them. And the way they are after the election is, they are not repentant. They are doubling down on war, doubling down on lawfare, doubling down on everything they do that's evil, that doesn't work, until they're shown it doesn't work, and then it fails. And then they have to regroup. And while they're regrouping, they're spouting off more and more stuff about Trump being Hitler, and they're doing it right now on X. Go to X. Water. Go to X, and if you can stand it. I mean, I can't. I go there every once in a while. I can't go there every day because I can't believe it. I can't believe the stupidity of people. It's really, but then I realize it's not stupidity. It's allegiance. Okay, it's an allegiance. It's a genetic allegiance that they automatically hear their master's voice and they follow. We hear our master's voice. The earth, I don't hear a master's voice, but my master's voice is the creator. So I hear that voice, and I had better heed. And that's really all I have to do here is heed that voice, heed that call, and do what I need to do to be in the good grace of the Lord. I mean, that's kind of where it has to be. Whether it's praying for people's healing, praying for a guy like Trump. What got me involved in Trump is I was no fan. I was against him. I wasn't going to vote for him because he was lying about the warp speed and all that, and he saved millions of lives, and I just couldn't stand that anymore. And we all know that he wasn't being truthful. He was being defensive. Whether or not he saved people's lives, I don't think so. Given the mRNA shots, I don't think so. I don't think he saved anyone's life. I think he was deluded. Could we put it that way? I don't think it was like a lie, like I know the truth and now I'm going to lie to you. It's more like I'm deluded and I'm spewing out lies of the delusion that the mRNA shots are saving the world. Pfizer's great. Invest in Pfizer. I love Pfizer because he owned Pfizer stock at one point. So he was tainted. And that corruption in Trump that I saw, and you guys that can't handle the truth about Trump, tune it out right now. I'm going to tell you the truth. He was corrupted by Pfizer. He was corrupted by these guys. And he had to learn his way through it. He worked his way through it to finally, he dropped that I saved millions of lives thing. He dropped the warp speed. They duped him, okay? They duped him. Listen, we watched him get duped by Birx and Fauci and all those guys, and he stopped the economy. Okay, so that's the second reason that I couldn't stand him. He stopped the economy saying that's the only way. Well, that was not the only way. It incurred the inflation you're suffering now, the high food prices. It was how COVID was handled in that, and Trump had a part in it by shutting down the country. And and when he learned about his involvement and what it meant, he learned. He had to learn about all this. He had to learn that he was in the wrong. And he did. Did he, Trish?
I think so.
You think he repented?
Yeah.
He stopped with all that babbling about saving all these lives. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think Bobby.
The Zeph Report had the most obvious and accurate reporting on that. That's what I think. And Alex was a close second, but not on the prophetic side. So I think where we go in the future is we're still going to be hampered by, a house divided cannot stand. And we have a house divided. This is the other word I want to give you today. But will we ever be a house not divided? No. I mean, if they all left and did what they said they're going to do and moved to Canada and moved to Europe and moved somewhere else, we might. Here's a way to think about it, which I'm going to put a smile on your face. Now, Elon has been looking at the birth rates and fascinated by him. It's just, I love intelligence. I'm kind of an intelligence junkie, I'm a big fan of brainiacs. And wherever they are, even kids, just I love people that are, grappling with what's really going on and not kind of making things up and lying about stuff. And, Elon was saying, we have to have more babies because we're just not producing babies. We need people that need to really, like it says in Genesis 1, God created man and woman to replenish the earth with humans. In other words, have sex, make babies, right? That's the mandate that's out there right now. And Elon is saying it. So now here's the new thing. Well, the Democrats are not going to have sex again. That's it. They're done. Well, maybe they'll have lesbian sex, or alternate sex of some kind. But I mean, they're not going to have sex that leads to children. I mean, it's taking a turn that even the abortion clinics can't stand because they need patients, right? Or they're going to go out of business. So they're complaining that these women are not having sex because they need to have babies they want to abort. And so they're saying, we're not having sex and we're not having babies. We refuse to give babies to the earth, and we're not. So now you have the Trump supporters and the independent thinkers. They're all having babies. And so the Trump supporters have said, kind of like as a joke, I don't think it's a joke, while they're not having babies, we will have them. So you're going to have a whole world full of these kind of people. And I just have to laugh at that and think, isn't that funny? The demographics changed to having babies is what ends up destroying them. Isn't that an interesting, ironic, and wonderful thought, folks? Isn't it? Isn't it? Think about it. Isn't that put a smile on your face? That what we would call conservative. When we say conservative, it was an evil term back in the 60s. Remember Jimi Hendrix lyrics says, walk on down the street, Mr. Conservative. You can't dress like me, And have you seen the Little Piggies? The Beatles wrote about conservatives of being associated with ties and coats and the establishment and wars and blame for everything. And people didn't realize that, these people come in all different sizes, shapes, and clothing. And, don't judge a book by its cover. It's really the content of someone's character. I prefer having a rule of law, having borders, but having something not corrupt. In other words, not being able to railroad enemies into prison because you don't like them. That's the stuff of Soviet Russia. No, I want a fair deal. And but because of corruption, because we're corrupt as humans, it gets projected onto our institutions, and that's what we're battling. And we can just keep that in mind. Then that will guide our prayer life into target, what to target with prayer. And I just pray that everything I prayed for has come due. So isn't that interesting? Or is in the process of coming due. And the main one was we had 20 on 20 some years ago where we were just praying about stopping human trafficking, which is I want to stop the human trafficking. I want security within the states without gangs attacking people and stealing cars and killing people and all that. I want us out of foreign wars and entanglements. Okay, these are basic things I want. They say, oh, you're duped. They're both the same size, just a show they're putting on for you. All that lawfare against Trump was no show. They were trying to really hurt him. During the campaign, though, he made about $3 billion on his social media, Truth Social. He made $3 billion. He spent hardly any of his own money. He spent his own money, but he had a war chest left over in the end where he was making fun and saying, I'll help pay off Kamala's debt. Just goes to show, though, I want a businessman that can straighten out the deficit and the public debt. I don't want to be in debt, and I don't want my dollars going to NGOs who are working against me as a citizen, or FEMA, who is telling people if they vote for the wrong guy, you're not getting any help if there's a disaster. I want them out of my life. I want them fired. I want them, rehire good people. I want, decency, damn it. Come on. Is there anybody out there who really wants lawlessness, open borders, lawfare? Anyway, I'm going to have to cut it short here. And I might do another one. I said we're going to talk about writing. There'll have to be another one. anyway, we love you, and I just know you're on the, I know we're on the same page, but the other guy is on that other page, and that doesn't change. Okay, so expecting that is, we have to do the best given the hand we're dealt, the best we can before God. So we say to the Lord, I did the best I can. I tried to stop the killing of children and the trafficking and the diseducation and the whole altering sex of children that haven't grown up enough to make a decision like that. I've done everything I could to eradicate the evil from this society, and we're asking for your blessing that we will be able to raise a family and to get through this and to grow. And I understand that growing without you is an exercise in futility. So I tell the people now that you exist, and you're not just a way, but you're a place. And I bid you shalom.
You can stay in your delusion. You can stay in your crib. You can stay in your feedback. You can stay beyond your welcome. Go out back, find the alligator. Go out front with the machine gun. Tell everyone how nice they are. I don't know you. Not anymore. I don't know you. Not anymore. 'Cause when I asked you, everything was fine. When I asked you, all was divine.
Irrational, repetitious.
You're deluded. You're deluded. You're deluded. I would like to know what went wrong back then. Why do they all stare? You made me into a pariah because I wouldn't lie. You made me an outcast because I wouldn't be your little bitch. Your little bitch. You made me a liar because you all lied.
Shotguns are out.
And now I'm not going to listen. Not anymore. I made you into a scarecrow. life.